It's Monday, February 22nd, 2021, and the morning edition is live. On today's show, we speak with the Bahamian lab analyst in Missouri. The story of victory and survival is the subject of a new book. And our men's national basketball team on the court in Puerto Rico. So let's start the morning off right. Best we can with what we have. Good morning and welcome to the morning edition. I'm LaDon Davis.
And yes, I'm Charles Fisher.
Fisher, the vaccine is on its way. The AstraZeneca is on its way. I think it's going to be good for the elderly, 65 and older, because they're at high risk for COVID-19. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen with that when they take the vaccine.
You're about how many years from 65?
I got a couple. I got a good much run before 65.
But you left here Friday and so much of a glow. How was your weekend? Did you get?
It was pretty good, but cold, but pretty good. We was able to bundle up, but it was pretty good, pretty good.
That's good to hear.
Did you get to go to Fusion?
No, I didn't get to go to Fusion. My friend from New York was in town. We were just up and down. Saturday the weather wasn't good for them to do beach, so I shifted up a bit, did some fried fish and stuff for him and his kids, and we had a good time.
And they enjoyed. I'm sure they enjoyed.
They left yesterday. They went back to 6 inches of snow.
What?
Yeah, so they went back and he'll be back.
Where do they actually live?
New York, Brooklyn.
Wow, that's close to Canada. Yeah. Canada's pretty cold.
Yeah, so he had a good time. He'll be back, say, in July.
And you look debonair this morning.
Yeah, I'm starting to go deep in my closet. I know when we go over and we shop sometime, we get clothes that we don't wear. So I went deep in my closet yesterday. They found somebody living in the back there that I didn't even know used to live there. That's how far I haven't been in my closet. You know, I only go, men only talk. When they go in their drawer, they only, your wife and your girlfriend, why you always wearing the same clothes? Why you always? So now, since I'm on TV every morning, I have to go deep in my closet. And the person that was living in the back, they said, get out of here.
So you push the old clothing to the back now. You put the ones that you haven't seen in a while.
I'll be wearing. So you'll see some of them old Christmas gifts that I got from my aunts, them that I didn't ever want to wear, them ugly shirt and them ugly tie that my aunts and uncle gave me and some of my friends, so I'll be wearing them nowadays.
I think the viewers love your attire when you wear those Frank Hanna attire.
Yeah, Linda and Unita, they're putting together a whole wardrobe. You know, that GQ magazine called me for that pants that I wore on Valentine's Day, so I'll be giving that to them, to the, either that or the Smithsonian.
Sounds like we need to do a story on you then. You were the GQ. GQ sounds like a pretty good magazine.
Yeah, it will be good. But talking about GQ, boy, you need to see what our Lord Allen has on this morning. He's dressed from head to toe somewhere out there in Prince Charles in the Eastern Road. Lloyd, you got to be modeling for GQ or Men of the Year. What's that? No.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Well, good morning, LaDon and Fisher, and good morning to the Bahamas. Today is your first look at traffic, and no, Fisher, I'm not modeling, but definitely providing you information with traffic reports here this morning. This one coming in again from the intersection of Prince Charles Drive and the Eastern Road. Now, already this morning, I'm going to call this area Workout Central. Many persons on the street working out, but we do want to offer some caution to those persons who on the way here, many of them happen to veer a little bit onto the road, and so we want to remind those early morning workout persons to remain on the sidewalk so to avoid the easy flow of traffic. Another reminder to those persons is to wear reflectors, as that too helps drivers to identify them. Now, because we're here by the water, the conditions here have increased a little bit with the winds increasing, and the surf looks at about 1 to 2 feet above normal levels. And so, of course, that may add some challenges to those persons taking coastal roads like this one, including the West Bay Street corridor, to get to their destinations this morning. LaDon and Fisher?
Well, Lloyd, that doesn't look like good beaching weather out there as well. But they look like the joggers and the walkers are definitely taking advantage of that nice, cool breeze.
Yeah, well, they're definitely taking advantage of it. And again, many of them, I spoke with a few who said as early as 5 a.m., many of them try to get out nice and early to avoid those challenging conditions that do increase in this area, this too is not void of traffic, which tends to build up at around that 7:30, 8 o'clock hour. I call that the sweet moment around the island where traffic increases and many persons find it a little difficult to get to their destinations. But of course, throughout the island, if you're leaving to get to your destination this morning, we do want to encourage you to leave nice and early, hopefully before that 7:30 hour, right after you've watched the morning edition, to ensure that you arrive to your destination on time.
All right, thanks a lot, Mr. GQ out there on the Eastern Road. Let's stay on the outside this morning, starting off mostly cloudy in the low 70s. In the extended forecast, a few more nights in the 60s before temperatures creep back into the 70s. Waiting on that, the daytime highs all week will be in the low 80s.
Let's take a look now at stories making news headlines.
Government is expected to receive more details related to the shipment of the 100,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine that have been secured through the COVAX facility. That from Prime Minister the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis during his national address on Sunday. With more than 190 million vaccinations already administered around the world, the Prime Minister explained how the process will work.
Vaccine appointment software is very near completion and is expected to be rolled out in advance of distribution. This will allow those who choose to take the vaccine to schedule their appointments digitally on their smartphones, tablet, or computer. For those without access to the internet or a device, appointment centers will be set up to provide assistance with making appointments to receive the vaccine. Among the first priority groups eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine on New Providence and Grand Bahama are healthcare workers, people over the age of 65, uniformed branch members, frontline workers, critical workers in high-risk settings, and other essential service workers. On the Family Islands, local medical teams will be assisted by mobile teams from New Providence. On the Family Islands, health teams will vaccinate all eligible residents who choose to take the vaccine at the same time.
The Bahamas has recorded an additional 9 cases of COVID-19, 6 on New Providence and 3 over in Abaco. The country now has a total of 8,462 cases, 1,049 of which are active. There are 14 hospitalized cases, with 1 person is in the intensive care unit at Doctors Hospital. There are 7,181 recoveries. The COVID-19 death toll remains at 179, with 15 deaths under investigation. The Office of the Governor General will be closed starting today and running through February 28th due to COVID-19 exposure. Governor General His Excellency the Most Honorable Cornelius A. Smith is also under self-quarantine after testing negative for the virus as a precautionary measure. In a statement, the Governor General's office says contact tracing is being conducted by the Ministry of Health Surveillance Unit. The Governor General's office will resume operations on Monday, March 1st. With the national airline fined recently for allowing a passenger to fly without a travel health visa, as mandated by law, health officials are working to ensure that all travel industry stakeholders follow the protocols.
We have a system in place. We work closely with our tourism partners to determine what is happening in the environment as it relates to aviation and airlifts. Inter-island travel domestic travel has proven a challenge as it relates to persons actually having the visa and presenting it, having the necessary documents to present. We are working closely with the civil aviation grouping to ensure that we provide, I would say, sensitization sessions as well as support.
From the crime beat, police were called to West Bay Street shortly after 11 p.m. Saturday, where they learned 2 women were in the parking lot of an establishment when they got into an altercation. One of the women produced a weapon, stabbing the other several times in the back. The victim was transported to hospital where she is in serious condition.
A big weekend for Charisma Taylor, the Matador qualifier in Texas. The Washington State Junior anchored the Cougars during the meet, posting the best qualifying time in the 60-meter hurls at 8.27 seconds. She then followed that up with a personal best, setting both the school and meet record, winning the final in 8.16 seconds. The previous best in the event in Washington State women's history is also by Taylor, 8.19. Charisma then finished up her day in the triple jump, posting yet another meet record, winning with a mark of 44 feet, 1.5 inches.
And when we come back, a Bahamian lab analyst in Missouri weighs in on COVID-19 vaccination, so keep it locked. More than 40 million people in the United States have been vaccinated with the Pfizer and Moderna, the two authorized drugs by the Centers for Disease Control. The Bahamas has secured 100,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, set to be distributed to adults only later this month. I caught up with my cousin, Breon Davis, a medical professional in Kansas City last week, Thursday, to talk about his experience about taking 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine in January and why he feels AstraZeneca is the right choice for the Bahamas. Hello, Breon, and welcome to the Morning Edition.
Hi, how are you?
So, Breon, you're a Bahamian lab analyst at the Children's Mercy Hospital over there in Missouri. Why did you choose Pfizer over the other vaccines, and when did you take the first dose?
The Pfizer vaccine was the one that was being offered by the hospital, and so I decided to go along with it. I took the first dose January 4th. I was a little apprehensive at first because I had heard about a lot of people experiencing various side effects. But once I took the shot, I luckily did not experience any side effects. I just had a very sore arm at the injection site. It was a pretty straightforward process, but I definitely did go into the process with some trepidation, and but I knew that what I was doing was for my safety and for the safety of those that are around me. So that kind of calmed my fears pretty quickly.
You've been on the front line from March of last year. What has that experience been like for you?
In the lab, we adopt practices and policies called universal precautions. And when you adapt those practices, you assume that every biological specimen that you deal with is infected with some pathogen or some agent. And so you're always encouraged to wear gowns, wear gloves, and wear the necessary personal protective equipment, even if the sample is negative.
And I know it's been said that everyone reacts to the vaccines differently. What have you seen and or heard on the ground?
I've heard of some people that have experienced nausea. They have passed out. They have experienced diarrhea. They have experienced flu-like symptoms.
And should Bahamians, I guess, brace ourselves for the vaccines? And do you think that AstraZeneca was a good choice for us?
I see that it has a 90% efficiency rate. It can be stored in much higher temperatures than the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, and it's a lot cheaper. And so all of these things, considering our climate, considering how far away we are from mainland America, these seem like good choices for the Bahamas.
Following massive unemployment levels last year brought on by the pandemic, the government introduced its Food Assistance Task Force, among other initiatives, to help struggling families. In July 2019, the government then joined forces with a number of NGOs to assist with this mammoth undertaking. And while those efforts remain ongoing, the Bahamas Red Cross is confirming that within 6 weeks, those efforts will come to an end unless an extension is introduced.
At the initial onset of the program, which would have been back when we were planning it out in May of 2020, it was based on the most vulnerable in our society, those with the greatest needs. What we then did, so it was based on everyone. Everyone was able to come in. The reality is that funding is only yay long, yay wide. So we had to, at one point towards the end, it was in October, November of last year, when we had to establish additional criteria.
Brennan says those adjustments were to reduce occurrences of double dipping. Additionally, as some persons began returning to work, eligibility, he says, had to be readjusted to continue assisting at the level they were offering daily. That figure reached a high of 100,000 households per distribution.
So the program is naturally coming to an end as people are re-engaged into the workforce, as people seek other means of generating revenue for themselves and for their families. Entities such as the Red Cross exist to help individuals who continue to be vulnerable. So again, we appeal to Bahamians, we appeal to corporate Bahamas to continue to provide the assistance we need, because what we do is every single day.
Helping to celebrate its 20th anniversary in existence, the Bahamas Financial Services Union making an important donation to local NGO Hands for Hunger. Last week, the items were delivered to Hands for Hunger's headquarters on Blake Road and included a number of non-perishable to assist in an HFH ongoing food assistance program. BFSU President Teresa Mortimer.
In January of this year, we would have celebrated our 19th annual general meeting. And come May, the BFSU would have been in the Bahamas for 20 years. And so today we are here to make a presentation on behalf of the executive officers and members of the Bahamas Financial Services Union.
Hands for Hunger Executive Director Keisha Ellis expressed a big thank you, saying that the organization is grateful for every effort to assist in reducing food shortages for families and individuals in this country.
Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, our truck has stayed on the road, making sure that we got as much food as possible to the people that need. And the only reason that we can do that is because of the donations like these. On behalf of the entire team of Hands for Hunger and all of the families and agencies that we represent, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you. Thank you for this donation and thank you for thinking of us.
As we head to the break, we take a look back at today in Bahamian history. On February 22, 1958, fire destroyed the Nassau Guardian. Police believed it was the work of arsonists. According to witnesses, a loud explosion had preceded the flames. Also on February 22, 1976, British aircraft carrier HMS Bulwark, the world's largest warship, docked in Nassau for a 3-day visit. Measuring 740 feet long and 123 feet wide, the 23,000-ton vessel conducted exercises in Bahamian waters with the Royal Bahamas Police Force Marine Division. The mother and owner of a small business over in Grand Bahama is branding together with her family to support each other in a unique workplace. Jay Philippe has more.
When we think about a tire repair store, we often think it's a dirty job. We also associate men with this kind of work, but not with this particular tire repair store. It's operated and run by women. Meet Rebecca Stubbs, owner and proprietor of Stubbs Reliable Towing and Tire Store located on East Sunrise Highway next to Municipal Gas Station. Rebecca says the vision to start the business started 9 years ago when her father came up with the business idea to open a towing company. She says the business flourished for a while. Shortly thereafter, she along with her family moved to New Jersey in the United States, but she returned to the Bahamas to carry on the family business. Rebecca says that her father's vision was to create a consistent business model that would allow her family and future generations an opportunity for employment, and that's what led to her to introduce the business to her daughters, who are now hands-on with daily operations.
We have one guy that's our muscle. His name is McKinley Nicholas, and the rest are my daughters and my niece. So there's 3 other females and my niece, another daughter, another girl. So it's basically an all-round female tire shop.
Rebecca says during the infancy stages of the company, the response from customers were always surprising when they saw that women were operating tire jacks and other repair materials, tools, and equipment.
Believe it or not, we have a better response from men than we do women. But I mean, everyone's, I guess, getting a little more comfortable with it the more they come in and see that we actually know what we're doing. Everyone's kind of warming up to it, but more the men, they're really down with it.
Her daughters Shamika Roll Forbes and Evanique Mullings are a part of the team that keeps the business going. Both females say they had limited experience in tire repairs prior to becoming staff, but they are now well equipped to tackle any issue that requires tire repairs, which comes as a surprise, especially to men.
They underestimate the things that we can do. So I get used to it though, but they'd be like, wow, you actually doing this? And I'd be like, yeah, it's quite easy. It isn't as hard as it looks or it seems. Being here, and because it was owned by my parents, just watching my brothers and everybody do it, eventually I began to learn things and it became very easy after.
Oh, it's a fun experience for people to come and say, oh, well, you're a girl and you shouldn't be doing this, and then you could prove them wrong and stuff like that. You know, it pays the bills. I could get things done on my own without having to ask for any man help, you know.
Rebecca also says that so-called true man power has not hindered daily operations.
There are a couple things that we may fall short on, but we do have one male with us just in case for that extra strength if needed. But there's not really the right tools to make everything easy.
Fisher, I know how to pump gas, but I don't know how to change a tire. I have no idea how to change a tire.
I just love that story. You shouldn't feel ashamed because most men don't know how to change tire neither.
You know how to change a tire?
I just learned recently. I learned after being catching so many flat. But a nice story there.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you something. Men, I'm going to vouch for this. Plenty of men don't know how to change tire. They'll ride into a shop and do this, but to see them all female and they doing it and making all the hard, heavy equipment they're doing, I just love that story.
So that means if my tire gets a flat and you pass in, that means I must let you pass me by then, because you know how to fix the tire.
Hey, Dawn, how you doing?
Because you can't help me.
I can't help you.
But that was a pretty good story by Jay. I think we need some more stories
like that. What that song is, Beyonce sings, women
who run the world. Girls.
That's a prime example right there, should have been played. That was I love that story. The girls are working, they're taking over, and coming up later on this week, I'm doing a story on a shop with just female barbers.
I think I remember that story. I think we did that story.
And then last year I did a story on women doing men's job, and so let's highlight the ladies. You're doing a great job here as well.
Thank you. I think we have another special story.
Yeah, another special story. We have Faith Meets Works. That's the story of Alan Floyd McLean, a man whose story of victory and survival is a subject of a new book. Anthony Smith with that story.
Though not short on words, thankful is just one way to describe budding author Alan Floyd McLean.
Satan thought he had me, but Jesus kept me, and I was saved by his mercy and his grace. That's why I'm still here today.
But back in his heyday, McLean was notorious on the Junkanoo scene. Known as the winning man in costumes, a great chef and owner of then popular restaurant Floyd's Cafe. That is, until a 2007 medical incident brought it all crashing down. A journey he chronicles in his new book, Alan's Victory in Jesus.
Along with my stroke and the brain aneurysm, at that time, I was in the coma, and sent me in the coma for 9 days straight. My doctor had to get into my head, started bleeding while I bleed in my head, you know. So, and while I'm on the operation table, my doctor declared that he had lose me 2 times.
But that would just be the beginning of a long road to recovery, McLean adapting to a life wheelchair-bound, a journey of pain and purpose that the senior is channeling now into giving back, starting with the proceeds from his new book.
And so, you know, I can't cook no more at this time, but I can raise funds to buy the food packages to be cooked, you know, so that's what it's all about right now. You know, that's why my Heavenly Father allowed me to write this book and to use my gift, my talent.
McLean's goal is far-reaching with a desire to help as many causes as he possibly can. But there's one cause that's dear to his heart, and that's a disability-catered bus service.
So we cater to the wheelchair person and the disability person. I used to go to therapy 3 times a week, and that I had to find $90 a week just to pay to get the therapy. I said, Lord Jesus, what about the person who can't afford to pay the $90? How they gonna get their therapy? That means they didn't get their therapy. So I said, Lord Jesus, we can do something with that when you put me together.
While McLean says he plans to host a signing down at the Old Cafe on May 5th, but before then, he's appealing to everyone, private and corporate, to be a part of his journey as a hopeful best-selling author turned budding philanthropist.
Such an inspiring story there, Fish. I know you know Floyd.
I saw the book here in the newsroom, and I didn't realize that it was Floyd's cafe that's down there, East Street South, right by the police station, because I remember when my grandmother was alive, I used to go there to get her stew fish. And then when he called the news from me, he said, yeah, tell Fishy, you know me, that's where he used to come.
Yeah.
And then that brought back a lot of memories, but I'm wishing Floyd the best.
Such an inspiring story, and despite his disability, he's still able to, I guess, spread his knowledge and to spread his, I guess, whatever it is that he was doing back in the days into that particular book. So that's really inspiring.
He was a very, in his time when you see him was up and down, he was a very giving man, and I hope that persons now that he is in need will help him out. But Floyd, we here at the ZNS, we wish you the best. But coming up right after the break, our men's national basketball team, they were over there in Puerto Rico. Not a good showing by them, but they did a job and represented the 242 very well. Our senior men's national basketball team with 2 tough losses on the weekend during the final leg of the FIBA 2022 AmeriCup qualifiers in Puerto Rico. When they opened up Friday night taking on the United States, the Bahamas was down 21-19 after one and never got any closer, trailing 54-40 at the half and go on to lose 93-77 despite a game-high 22 from Travis Munnings. David Nesbitt and Dominic Bridgewater each with 14. Ken Quan Smith chipped in with 13. And then on Saturday, facing the host team, a much better game, even though the 242 trailed by just 4 at the half, 52-48. They outscored Puerto Rico 31-18 in the third to lead by 9 heading into the final frame, but the Puerto Ricans stifled down on defense while going on mini runs to close the game 102-97. Michael Thompson Jr. leading the way with 21, Travis 14, David Nesbitt 13, while Devario Miller and Kentuan had 12 apiece. Bahamas finishes the qualifier at 1-5 and will not advance. The United States won Group D with a perfect 6-0 win-loss record, while Puerto Rico was 3-3, and those teams are the 2 teams that have qualified for the FIBA AmeriCup.
Some good things going on there in
Good
sports.
things. So a lot of good things going on in sports, and even though the COVID, we have our athletes participating. Don't forget, the Olympics is still on this year.
All right. And that's a wrap for us this Monday morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDawn Davis.
And I'm Charles Fisher. I always seem to forget my name.
Have a great morning, everyone.
It was staggerly.